We are back, and it is the afternoon. The last 2 days, I've been doing it in the morning, but I want to say good afternoon. Hopefully, this is still part of your lunch hour, and you can steal away for a few minutes to just hang in here with me or hang out with me a little bit. But thank you for taking time out of your day to tune in to Dr. Tanya Live. Before we dive in, I'm going to do what I have been doing every single day since starting these lives. That is to ground us in one scripture verse that just means a lot to me and really just kind of pushes me and reminds me of who I am. That's Ephesians 2:10. For we are God's masterpiece. That's you. You are God's masterpiece. He created us anew in Christ Jesus so that we could do the good things that he planned for us long ago. That's good news, right? That he had something in mind when he created you. He gave you these gifts. Yesterday, I talked about the gifts that God has given to each of us. And he gave you these gifts because there's a purpose that he has for you to use them and do good things. There are some good things that he's got planned for you, and he wants you to be able to use the gifts that you have to do those good things. So I want you to walk away today just feeling encouraged and feeling like you know who you are. You know that God took his time with you. You know that he created you to be somebody special with certain gifts and talents and abilities and purpose. And because of all of that, you know that you can do and you can walk in your purpose and do the good things that he's planned for you long ago. I do have a favor. I ask this all the time. That is, please share, please like, please follow, and subscribe to any of my social media platforms that you see. In the meantime, again, thank you for joining me. Today is day 28. I didn't write it down, but it is. Today is day 28, which is crazy, of my 90-day challenge. Every single day, I have challenged myself to come on social media live every day for 90 days. I'm doing business days. And I'm showing up live to encourage women and sometimes men who are ready to start a business. Women who have already started a business, but they might need support in getting their business off the ground. Women who are looking to build and grow what they've already started. So this is something that we are doing on a regular basis. So now I would love for you to just share with your friends. So if you are on social media right now, I encourage you to just go online and let your friends know, hey, jump on here. We're going to talk today. Our topic today is actually about monetizing our gifts. So we have some gifts. We all have them. I talked about them yesterday, but it's about monetizing our gifts. Another way of saying that is turning your gift into a business model. So how many of you have an idea for a business and you would like to turn whatever those gifts are that God has given you into a business model? You really want to do something with the gifts and the talents that God has given to you. Well, today, this is exactly what we're going to talk about. I recall a number of years ago, it's probably more than 10 years ago, a really dear friend of mine and I were hanging out. I don't know if we were walking. We used to walk together a lot. And I don't know if this was a day that we were walking together a lot or not. And she wasn't necessarily in business at the time. But I remember sharing this with her. Like she's very gifted. She's got a lot of gifts. And she, she had an audience already of folks. And I said to her, you really need to monetize some of these things that you are really good at doing. And we were sitting in my car. I'll never forget. I was dropping her back off at home. And I said, you really need to, because you've got these gifts. And I think that the gifts that you have will serve other people. Like there are other people who are going to benefit from the gifts that you have. And in return, they'll pay for what you have, and they will help you to turn this into a business model. And so I could tell that really resonated with her because she sat there and just kind of pondered it for a minute and was just thinking about like, that, like, you got a point there. I probably should do that, right? And guess what? She did exactly that. She did exactly that. And so she now runs her own business. It's in ministry, but she has stuff happening all the time, like all the time. And she has offerings, she has programming, and she is serving an audience of people who need what she has to offer. And so she has figured out how to turn this into a business model where I remember at some point that things were very tough financially, and at this point I'm sure she is well into six figures, if not seven. um, I probably should just kind of check in with her to see, but I'm not sure. But the idea and the point here is that you can actually take the gifts that you have and you can use those gifts to serve other people, and you can get paid to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. The Bible has business owners. It talks about business owners. The Proverbs 31 woman was a business owner. So there's another scripture that I really wanted to just kind of point out because I thought it was really good. And it comes from 1 Peter 4:10, and it basically says, God has given each of you a gift. Okay. I know he's talking to a certain group of people at that point, but we can also assume that he has given us all a gift, right? A gift from his great variety of spiritual gifts. Use them well to serve one another. Okay, so a couple things stand out to me. The first thing that stands out to me is use them well. The gifts that God has given to you, there is a responsibility that we have to use them and to use them well. You don't just have these gifts for you to sit on them. There's something that you can and should be doing. Now, we have to seek God a lot of times, seek Him on what it is that He would have us to do. But just know that He didn't give these gifts to you for no reason. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody with gifts has to be a business owner. Everybody's not an entrepreneur. Everybody's not called into the marketplace that way. And that is okay. But if you are one of those people that has a calling and an assignment in business, and you know that you're supposed to be building a business, and you know you've got gifts and talents that you're sitting on that could be used to benefit others, because that other piece that stood out to me was to serve one another. To serve one another. Our businesses are intended to solve a problem. We build businesses, at least believers, we build businesses to solve a problem. And so we're solving a problem. We are serving others as we are solving that problem. So um, what we're doing can be an act of service in the business that we are doing. So, for example, maybe like me, you have a teaching or an exhortation gift, and those are two separate gifts, but I have both of them. And maybe you have those gifts as well. What could you potentially do? How could you turn that potentially into a business model if you are looking to build a business? Well, I'll tell you some of the things that you can do. Some of these things I've done or am doing. You can coach individuals. There are certification programs that can certify you to become a coach, because coaching isn't just, telling people what to do. It really is helping people understand. Like, I use a cognitive coaching model. So it really is helping people to understand the decisions that they make and what's behind their thinking as they're making those decisions. And so when you're, when you have a gift of teaching or you have a gift of exhortation, you have an opportunity potentially to build a coaching business. You could have courses that you offer in areas where you have expertise. And so maybe, I don't know, it depends on what field you're in. So I've been in the field of education most of my career. And because I've been in the field of education, I can absolutely build courses and have built courses and do, conduct courses and training specifically around the areas of my expertise. So even going live every day is an opportunity for me to teach, or to exhort in some way, to encourage you in some way to do what it is that God has called you to do. So other ways that you can use your gift of teaching and or exhortation is by being a speaker. You can be a public speaker. You can be a specific type of speaker. You can do podcasting. which is something that is becoming popular again. So there was a season where podcasting was really popular, and then it wasn't as popular, and then it has become popular again. And people have monetized their podcasting. Now, I've done some podcasting kind of for the fun of podcasting because I just have enjoyed it. I've done it with my business partner, Erica. I've done it with my husband in the past. And I really do enjoy that. And that also kind of ties in another gift, which is the speaking gift that I have or that you might have, where podcasting is like a perfect avenue and can be a revenue generator as well. So you can have um, this as a business where other people are, um, other businesses, if you will, want to advertise on your podcast show. And by them advertising on your show, you are earning money from their advertisement, right? And so that's one revenue stream. And so we do need to have multiple streams of income. So that's a way that you can earn income. Some people who have a teaching and exhortation gift may do something like run a tutoring business. So I've done that as well, and that's an opportunity for you to use your teaching gift to teach students whatever it is that they need growth and need support in, but it also gives you a chance to encourage those students along the way. Then you might have a gift of administration or organization, and there are people who are highly gifted in this way. They really can put things together. They really are great at organizing things, and those are the individuals that might be virtual assistants, right? So the excuse me, the virtual assistant business line of business is a pretty popular business. It's really, really helpful and needed for founders and entrepreneurs. But maybe this is your business. So I met with a lady a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was, who has been in this business for a long time. She started it. She was the one that was the virtual assistant, and then she turned it up. So she was making money from it. It was her business. But then she turned it into an even bigger business where she's not the one who's actually the virtual assistant anymore, but she hires other virtual assistants who work for her. And because they work for her, this is the business that she has. And so she now is managing and running this business, and it has grown tremendously. And she's doing very well in that space. Perhaps you can be a consultant if you have these administration and organizational gifts, because a lot of times, depending on the organization, they may need people to come in and help them do things like develop systems. People who have strong organization skills are great with developing systems and helping other organizations create systems and um, put systems and processes in place to help their businesses run more smoothly. You may find that there are other services that you can offer. There are templates that you might develop and create and sell. So here are ways that your gifts can be monetized, that they can become a business, a part of your business model. So maybe you have the gift of mercy or the gift of encouragement, and together you can use that in the capacity of a counseling business. You can develop your own counseling business using the skills of mercy, using the skills of encouragement. Now you need to be trained to be a counselor. So don't just go out there starting a counseling business and you have not been trained to do that work, because that's serious work. And people who are coming have some real challenges that they are going to need support in working through. Maybe you have some type of support group that you create. People need support for all kinds of things. So, for example, this wasn't an area that I needed a support group for, but as a woman, I have had miscarriage and an ectopic pregnancy in my span of living. And I had the support of my family to get me through, but sometimes that's not enough. So maybe if that's your story, if that's your experience, and you have the gift of mercy or the gift of encouragement, a support group might be something that you start. And the list can go on and on in terms of support. You might be someone who runs retreats, or you have a specific type of a retreat, a wellness retreat of some sort, where people can come who need to refresh themselves and to just regenerate their energy and do whatever it takes to kind of like settle down from real life and kind of get themselves into a headspace and a mental space that allows them to be most productive when they're back in society. You might be someone who says, hey, I want to house the seniors, or I want to have healthcare programming for seniors. Those are people who have the mercy gift or the gift of encouragement. Maybe you have the gift of hospitality. So, as much as I love to be hospitable, I do not have that gift. I know that because the people who do have that gift are amazing, and they do the kinds of things that I would never even think to do because it's not an area where I'm gifted. And so those are the people that might say, hey, let me open a bed and breakfast, or a boutique hotel, because hospitality is something I want to extend to people that I know, or people that are like me, or people who are looking for a break, or people who need somewhere to stay, or who are looking to get away and be refreshed, whatever it is. Maybe you are an event planner. You're someone who, coordinates events, special events that are happening. In fact, there's a woman that I have recently met who is a multi millionaire because of the events that she is able to put on. But she's got this gift of hospitality. Some people have a craftsman type of gift, a craftsmanship type of gift, right? So that might not be considered a spiritual gift, but these are gifts. And in fact, even in the Old Testament, it was listed as a gift because it was something that was needed and important in building the Ark of the Covenant. But there are people who are able to make things with their hands, and they are gifted artisans, right? And so those individuals may choose to develop a business where they are selling some kind of product. So I should do a shout out real quick. Hold on. Do I have it over here? No, I thought I did. I was going to show you the work of one of one of our dear friends and team members who is an artisan, and she has done some amazing work. And she's able to sell her artwork and her products. Graphic designers have businesses in that way, and you may have that craftsman type of gift and you use it in that way. You might have items that you sell on Etsy. There may be some custom work that you're able to do that other people can't do, woodwork, or work with metals, um, or silver, that's metals, or whatever. That is a gift that only some people have. And I don't have that gift either. You might have the gift of discernment or the gift of wisdom. And so you may find that you do some advisory type of work, which could fall under the guise of consulting as well. And you can build a business around some of the advisory work that you do. You might be someone who develops a mentoring program, especially if you love working with students. That discernment, that wisdom could be used in that mentoring program. You may have some type of a legal office of some sort or business. And maybe you're in that field and you've got your own law firm. That may be because of the gift of wisdom and the gift of discernment that you have. Perhaps you have the gift of words or writing, and you are someone who is able to author books, or maybe serve as a ghostwriter and have a ghostwriting business. There are people that get paid to write for other people. And maybe that's a gift that you have that you can use and monetize that gift. Maybe you're a copywriter and you can help people with creating content, and you can have a content-based business. The list goes on. So I think you get the idea of how we can use and monetize the gifts that we have, and not in ways that are offensive, but in ways that serve other people and serve them well. We are to use our gifts well. So, what do people come to you for? Oftentimes, that'll give you a glimpse into where your gifts may be at work. And maybe there's a business there. Maybe people come to you for the same thing, and you notice a trend because enough people have come to you for that thing. So maybe you thought it was a hobby that you were creating that t-shirt, and you were just like, hey, I was just making it for my family reunion. But you created it like this. It was beautiful. Everybody loved it. People were complimenting it. It looked different than what everyone else had. And maybe everyone now in the family is like, hey, can you make a t-shirt for my walkathon? Can you make a t-shirt for our women's group? Can you make it? And next thing you know, you got a business there because people will pay you to do the thing that you are really good at doing. Maybe it's something that comes naturally for you. So think about what are the things that are easy for you, but for somebody else may be a challenge, right? Like I mentioned, that hospitality piece, like that does not come easily for me, although I'm a nice person. Most people would tell you I'm a really nice person, but the hospitality gift is not one of the gifts that God gave to me. So I will not be opening a bed and breakfast. It's just not my gift, right? But I remember, or I'm not going to be opening a restaurant where I'm going to serve people in a restaurant. I remember when I was a teenager, and the youth group was actually served. We had a spaghetti dinner or something. I don't remember the purpose, but we had a spaghetti dinner, and we were serving everybody. And I remember, having to serve the people that were at whatever table I was assigned. And they were like, like, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you give me this? I want that. I need this. I need a little. And I was like ready to like wring somebody's neck. I was a teenager. I was young and whatever, immature, but I knew then that the hospitality industry was not my industry, and that's okay. So not everybody's gifts are in that area of hospitality. But let me tell you, the people who have that gift, they do wonderful work. One of my closest friends has that gift. Just our visiting, she makes us feel like we're coming to a bed and breakfast, and we're going to her house. Like she just rolls out the red carpet, and she just thinks about all the things that I would never think about. And so when she came to my house, because we live out of state, when she came to my house, I was like, oh, I feel bad because I didn't do X. I'm thinking about how she treated us when we visited her. And I'm like, okay, look, you just get what you want, like, because I just don't have that gift. And she understands that. She loves me too. So that's not a big deal. What are some problems that you are the one who people come to solve? Because that also is a clue into ways that, what your gifting may be and how you might be able to monetize those gifts. So you're going to want to start with whatever those gifts are, right? And think about what you can do with those gifts. So I listed a whole bunch of things that you could potentially do with the different gifts that you have. But now, how can you structure it in a way that you can earn revenue? That part is not always so easy to structure our gifts in a way that earns revenue, and so that might be where we need extra support. That's the kind of work that I do. So I help provide that support. I can teach you through. I've got a gift of teaching. I can work. Let me do this again. I can walk you through what you need to do to get to monetize the gifts that God has given you. I've done it dozens and dozens of times with other people that I know. Um, and so, what you're gifted in and the kinds of products and the kinds of services that you offer are going to be unique to your gifting. So don't expect that what you create has to look like what everybody else has done. It doesn't. It can be exactly what you do and what you do well, which is why God made you to be the masterpiece that you are. But what's really key is that you are responsible for stewarding that gift. So God expects us, I believe, to use our gifts well. When I look at that First Peter chapter that I read at the beginning, we are to use our gifts well. So if we are using our gifts well, that is an act of stewardship. So we are stewarding the gifts that God has given to us. And so when we think about how we're going to steward those gifts and how those gifts could potentially become revenue, we're going to do it very thoughtfully. We're going to do it very prayerfully. And we're going to do it in a way that makes sense, business sense. Like you're not going to overexert yourself. Now, and let me back up and not just say overexert yourself, because that doesn't even, I don't know that that's going to compute. But you're going to want to make sure that the way that you position, how you sell get the service or the product that your gift allows you to be able to sell. Because, like if you're selling a workshop or training or consulting or coaching, you're not selling your gift per se, but your gift is being used in that coaching and in that training and in that consulting or whatever it is. So, like, if you're selling jewelry or sneakers or a t-shirt, the gift is not the t-shirt and the jewelry. The gift is the artistic ability that you have, and the creativity behind the product that you're developing. So your gifts actually allow you to be able to step into a role as an entrepreneur, solving people's problems, helping people in some way, serving them by ensuring that you have the answer to the problem that they need solved. So, how can people, when you think about your gift, think about how that gift can be turned into a transformation for someone else? So, what's going to be transformed about people because you've used your gift to develop a business that solves a problem for them? So, what are you transforming in them with the business that you're building? And using the gifts that God has given you. Here's the thing, we all have gifts. We're not all entrepreneurs, but we all have gifts. So, can we use these gifts in a way that serve others? And so I'm using my gifts by being on here live every single day. I'm going to continue to use my gifts by being here live until I reach that 90-day mark and I turn it into something different. But right now, this gift is not something that I'm getting paid for. I'm not getting paid to go live every day. But what I am doing is I will tell you about something that I have to offer. So I have talked many days about fear and how fear stands in the way of us being able to walk in our purpose and walk in our calling and do what it is that God has called us. Fear stops a lot of people from building the businesses that they have dreamt about building year in and year out. And I know people who are sitting on their dreams and not building the businesses that God has called them to. So fear stands in the way. So one of the things that I have to offer is a couple of products. One is When Fear Knocks, and that product is actually a 10-day devotional. And the other product that you will purchase is an ebook with an interactive companion that goes with it. And so both of those are $27. Both of those you can get on my website, tanyabreland.com. And I pray that you will, especially if you are tackling fear, and maybe fear is something that's showing up in your life in other ways. So fear can be tackled in a lot of different ways, but we often will just say, well, like, Lord, take away my fear. And he can absolutely do that. But sometimes he wants us to confront that fear. He wants us to address that fear, to name that fear, and to work through it. And these resources will allow you to do just that. Go to my website, tanyabreland.com, and you can get all of those websites. All of those, both of those products right there on my website. I'm going to close out for today. Tomorrow, we're going to come back, and I want to encourage you around when you say yes. What does that mean for you? What does saying yes mean for your business? What does saying yes mean for your life? For the changes that are going to come as a result? I want to walk through that. If any part of today's conversation resonated with you, I would love to hear from you. Inbox me, send me a message, shoot me an email. I read every single one of them. You can visit my website, tanyabreland.com. You can email me, tanya@tanyabreland.com. You can inbox me, DM me, all of that, and I will respond to you. So until tomorrow, where we talk about when you say yes, the world is actually waiting for you to say yes. I'll see you tomorrow morning. We're going to be back at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow. I don't love that time, but I know that it is a time that stretches me and perhaps gets to more of you. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day.